Jonathan, good morning to you and Kap. How are you guys doing?
We are doing awesome. The coaching search continues. The list now at 177 confirmed candidates. Yesterday, Mike McCarthy was there yesterday. Your thoughts on him? You've called a billion games where he's been a head coach, whether Green Bay or Dallas, how he would affect Caleb. Your thoughts on the whole thing?
Every candidate, I look where they're coming from and who they coached for, who was their head coach, if they're just a coordinator, or who is a part of their roster. And so for a guy like Mike McCarthy, are you able to develop Caleb into an Aaron Rodgers? Because when you came aboard, Aaron Rodgers was there, and then you just kind of rode the it didn't. I don't know how to say it. You had a quarterback in place that already had a little bit of experience, and then you were able to structure an offense around him along with Tom Clements, their quarterback coach, quarterback guru there, that were able to turn that into one Super Bowl. And winning games is winning games, but winning Super Bowls is what you're ultimately after. I'm not against Mike McCarthy, but just like any of these other candidates, to really get a read on them, just like you guys in every one of your interviews or new people you meet in the business world, once you have a chance to sit in front of them and ask their plan and make eye contact with them and listen to their presentation, you learn a lot more about these guys. That's one thing we're not privileged to, but as Ryan said in the end of the year press conference, he's not going to leave any stone unturned, and he definitely hasn't at this point.
Tom, let's go back to days that John Fox was the head coach for the Bears. I want to get your thoughts at the time, because it was the first time that the Bears hired someone with coaching experience. What did you think of that hire at the time? Because it's something that we'd never seen before.
Well, to me, I'm never been a big fan of hiring outside influences to help you make your quarterback decision. And the Bears hired Ernie Orcasi at that time, and he was the guy that came in and suggested John Fox. I need a guy that's fresh, a guy that is energetic, guys that's excited about either his first opportunity or maybe a guy in his second opportunity, and a young person, a guy that may have learned something in his first go-around that can help him be a better head coach in the second go-around. So I was not a huge fan of John Fox, the hiring. I needed a guy that had a little less stability in place and a little bit more future development on the horizon.
So the reason why I asked that question, guys, is because this is the conversation we've been having. Tom, you've been listening. There's a lot of our listeners that like the idea that Ben Johnson, because he was helping turn around this Lions offense, that he should be the head coach for the Bears versus McCarthy. And again, no matter if he was with the Packers or the Dallas Cowboys, the point is, though, is that he's had proven results, but many like the fresh face, Kap. I mean, this is what we've been seeing. People think, look at what the Lions have been and what they are now, and could Ben Johnson do that for the Bears?
Yeah, and Tom, as we had this discussion, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of bringing 80-year-old Ernie Accorsi in or 81-year-old Bill Polian in. I'm also not a fan of, it's not working, blow out the GM, because correct me if I'm wrong, when you get rid of the GM, most likely then the assistant GM leaves. 98% of the scouts that he brought in, they leave. The nutrition guy or gal leaves the whole staff there because the new guy wants to do it the way he wants to do it. The strength coach might have a totally different philosophy from what they have. The GM wants his own people, so that all gets moved out. It is like turning around a battleship in port when you move on from a GM. Is that accurate?
Oh, 100%. Every new hire in the NFL, it seems that they want to bring in some of their own people, whether it's an offensive coordinator, like you mentioned, a GM, a head coach for sure. And so, you have to be ready for an entire change within that building. And, when on the Super Bowl team with a guy like Ditka, we had 9 assistant coaches. Now they got 20, whatever. Mm-hmm. They have all these other pieces in place. We didn't have a nutritionist. We didn't have a psychologist. We had one strength coach in the great Clyde Emmerich. So, yeah, you're talking about a lot of moving parts in the NFL engine nowadays that would change depending upon what level of person that you hire and you bring in.
Okay, so that's why I was not all locked in. And Ryan's made his share of mistakes. He's, a big boy. He would absolutely say, I didn't do a good enough job here. I didn't do a good enough job there. The facts are what they are. You just look at the team play. But I am willing to give him a second chance. I'm more wedded to the thought of getting someone, whether that is Mike McCarthy or someone else, who has head coaching experience. This is Chicago. This isn't Carolina. This isn't Tampa. This is Chicago, a charter franchise. And I believe the culture in that room, and this is from players that are on that team, they tell me we got to fix that first and foremost. And Shay and I always argue. He goes, win and your culture will get fixed. Well, I don't believe you can win with a bad culture. Yes, when you win, it helps the culture.
Yeah, I agree, but you got to have that. You have to bring that culture changer aboard. You have to have that guy that has the ultimate alpha to stand in front of these other type A personalities and convince them that everything that he's telling them is the right way to go about business. And if I was going to interview a head coach, say that he was had an offense in his background, you tell me the structure for Caleb Williams. You tell me the offense that you're going to insert that it's going to benefit what we believe is a franchise quarterback in the building that has a decade of service left in his body, in his abilities, that is going to lead us to a Super Bowl. And if you're interviewing a guy with a defensive background, tell me what type of style of defense you're going to run. Tell me what are the key components to making sure that this defense runs at the ultimate level that we see out of the guys that have developed defensive reputations around the league. And they're going to have to sell me on their side of the ball first. And then I could probably make a more clear-headed decision about what I need to do personnel-wise. What are they going to do with the pieces that are in place according to which side of the ball they favor?
Tom Thayer with us here on the Kap and J Hood Morning Show on ESPN 1000 and streaming on the ESPN Chicago app presented by ESPN Bet. Tom, you saw the Detroit Lions with Ben Johnson. What is it that you like most about the Lions offense that Johnson runs?
Dan Campbell. I want to tell you, and that's a thing I have a problem with when I think about any, a lot of coaching candidates. You go back and you look at after the 85 season when they hired Buddy Ryan. They were hiring Buddy Ryan because of the 46 defense. They weren't lining up to hire the offensive guys because they knew that Mike Ditka's not going to be standing behind them and pointing fingers at guys that are in the team meeting room, and they're worried about these other offsprings capturing the attention and adding the seriousness and the uncomfortableness to the room that Mike Ditka does. And that's the one thing about Dan Campbell, and I always say it, he's the most Mike Ditka-like guy since Mike Ditka. And that's why if I could sit in a chair in front of Ben Johnson and listen to his delivery and listen to the way he holds the attention of all the guys in the room that are doing the interview, listen to the immediacy of his answers of the questions that aren't necessarily about the X's and O's, that are some of the other building blocks of a successful football team. Those are all the types of things that I would need to hear because, playing for George Allen, playing for Don Shula, playing for Mike Ditka, Joe Green was with Miami when I was there. Dick Stanfeld's a Hall of Famer with the Chicago Bears when I was there. You kind of get a look at success and failure. And when you listen to even a guy like Dan Devine doesn't give you the same speech that Jerry Faust did. And then when you're in the NFL level, I played for George Allen and I played for Frank Kush. You talk about two different speeches in front of the room. One is a guy that's explaining football and the details of success in George Allen, and the other guy is threatening you to do this or that, or else I'm going to come out of my chair and I'm going to give you, a knock across the head and stuff like that. So
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait a minute. A knock across the head. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean, Frank Kush was a different type of guy, because we would be watching tape, and if someone was doing something that he didn't approve of, he would tell them, look, I'll get out of this chair and I'll come and, beat the heck out of you. So, but that was at a professional level where it was a little bit more acceptable than what he did in the college ranks.
Didn't he slug his punter once?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And in the meeting, it was the punter that he was threatening again. So,
like today, he'd get fired.
Oh yeah, of course. But it's I guess the basis of my point is the delivery of the message. You could be a Hall of Famer like George Allen that necessarily isn't up there yelling and screaming, but he's getting his point across because he's so intelligently explaining what he wants to get done. And that's the same thing with a guy like Don Shula,
Yeah.
So I've seen the Hall of Fame delivery, and I've seen guys that ended up getting fired in the long run.
Yes, you need someone strong in the locker room that can galvanize the room, like this guy, Marcus Freeman.
It's a 7-point game. We get the ball first. So just understand, that's all it is right now. Now, what do we have to do to change it? We got to be able to run the ball, right? We got to be able to run the ball, right? And we got to stop the run. That's all it is, man. We ain't about to panic. They don't need to be nervous. It's a fight. It's a 7-point ball game, and we get the ball first. It's a fight. Go out there and fight.
Oh, God. And what happens? They fought.
And you know what I think of the Irish, despite my love for you, but I love that dude.
How about that? Is that what you want in the room? Something like that?
Yeah. Listen, you gotta first of all pinpoint the necessity for success, and that was running the ball, because I thought the quarterback was a little shy and nervous going into that game and throughout that game, and then finally that inspirational speech made him realize that we got to run the ball if we're going to succeed. It's the same thing. What is the speech about going to be pregame at against Ohio State? It's going to be about coverage, because if you don't have the right types of coverages against receivers like they have at Ohio State, it could be a Texas type of a day or an Oregon type of a day. Mm-hmm. And so you're still going to have to run the ball. That's always, first priority on that within that offense. But man, it's Notre Dame's got really good defense, good pressure, good defensive back, but it's going to be about coverage.
This is tailor-made for Kap in so many ways. I'm out of it because I'm a Georgia guy, so my team's out of it. But this is what's so great about this. Kap can't stand the Irish fans.
Right. Oh, I know.
Okay, but he respects Marcus Freeman. Other side of it, he loves Ohio State. So this matchup is really for you.
Right.
Because it's all tailor-made for you on both ends, Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Like, I take Marcus Freeman as the Bears coach all day long. Love him. But I hope Jeremiah Smith scores 7. Touchdowns.
Touchdowns or points?
I'm talking touchdowns. I want to blow up.
Kap.
I want to lay the 9 and go, yes, we got him put away, baby.
Here's something, Tom. Here's something that'll get you aggregated. You ready?
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman, is he in a better spot with Notre Dame's remaining the head coach of Notre Dame or one of these NFL openings?
Has he been asked to interview with any other team?
Not that I know of, just the Bears.
Yeah, that's what I haven't heard any other team, ask for an interview from him.
But the name's hot, Tom. It's a hot name.
Listen, if I was Marcus Freeman and I knew exactly what I had going on in South Bend and I know I have 6 years of security, I wouldn't be looking for the exit ramp. I would be happy and content with going to the ACC every day, walking into my big office, having an indoor facility, having multiple outdoor fields, having a beautiful stadium across the street that's only used about 8 times a year. And I would be happy and content. But I also think, he has like 5 or 6 kids. I would have to definitely involve my wife in the conversation and see, okay, are you happy with the amount of hours that I put in here? Are you happy with what the school system and everything that we have available to us in the South Bend area, wherever they live? And this is not a one-man band or a one-man decision. This is a family decision that you definitely have to include her.
And you just got to keep NIU off the schedule.
Oh, a shot.
How else are you guys going to make money during your season? If they don't pay you money to come up, take a bus ride up to South Bend and get all giddy like you're, remember the Titans, then hey, we're only doing it for you and the kids of NIU.
That schedule, man. Do I want to have to play at Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota? Oh God, I got the Chiefs this year. Or Army, Wake Forest, Stanford. We'll get up for one big game, and then we get Northern coming back.
Texas A&M, USC, get yourself into the playoffs, beat Georgia, beat Indiana, who is another one of your, what were they, 11-1 at the time?
Yeah.
Are we going to have a wager on this game, you and I?
What is Ohio State favored by how many points?
I think it's not. What is it, Shay? 7.5?
No, last I saw was 8.5. I'll double check.
8 or 8.5.
Okay, I'll take Ohio State.
Yes.
No, you can't have them.
What you bet you're welching out a bet already?
I didn't. We don't have a bet. I'm trying. I've got Ohio State. You get Notre Dame.
It's 8 now. Thayer,
8.
for the record, I really like Notre Dame at that number.
Oh, and you're as big as Notre Dame hater as Kap is. I love you, shit. All right, Kap. I'll tell you what. Whatever the points are at the start of the game, we'll bet. Bet a breakfast up at your place in the suburbs.
Okay, how about dinner?
He said breakfast.
Sure, I'll go dinner.
We'll go dinner.
I know that. What is the steak place you guys always talk about?
Chicago Cut.
I've never been there. Yeah,
we'll go there.
You can buy me dinner there.
We'll go there. And you got to dress in scarlet and gray, or I got to wear blue and gold.
Yes, baby. Yes.
Scarlet. Okay.
Deal.
All right.
That'll be great. Scarlet and gray stockings, of course.
And then what happens after, guys?
We'll see.
We go our separate. We go angrily. Well, me angrily and Kap happy. Whatever winning guy goes away happy.
That's right.
The other guy goes away angrily and with the use of his credit card.